Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Daniel, this is my beautiful wife Morgan, and welcome to our channel where we teach people just like you how to do more things for and by yourself. And one of those things that we teach you how to do is make delicious homemade wine. And today we're going to taste a bottle of some of that delicious homemade wine that we made, and that is our apple and pear wine.
We had a surplus of apples and pears that needed to be used up before we left for vacation, so we decided to put them all through a juicer, and we took the juice and fermented that.
It has the juice.
Now we have a apple pear wine from our leftovers.
I will say that this was something that I just did on a whim. Like she said, we just had all the leftover fruit, and I knew that you could take fruit, juice it, and turn it into wine. We've already tasted this, and I will tell you, I am so surprised and happy with the result of this wine. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over my little note sheet, talking about the process that this wine went through just very briefly, and then we're going to go over the different qualities of this wine, what we like about it, what we don't like about it. As you can see, I have this nice pristine bottle with the homemade label on it, but then I also have this bottle right here that has already been chilled. Whenever I rack my wine into bottles, I always do one bottle, one of these resealable bottles like this, and stick it right in the fridge. That way we don't have to open up a new bottle today. We're just gonna use what I already had in the fridge. So to briefly go over the process, like my wife already said, all I did was I got about 4 pounds of apples and pears, juiced them all, made my basic recipe with 1.5 to 2 pounds of sugar. I used some wine yeast, and then I let it sit and sit and sit, because as you can see, this thing never ever really got cleared. This is as clear as this wine was ever going to get. There's no sedimentation at the bottom. I kept racking it over and over again, and there was nothing coming down to the bottom. So I realized this was as clear as it was going to get. I back sweetened it just a little bit. My starting specific gravity was 1.092, which is just a little bit higher than my normal sweet spot. And then my finished was 1.002. So right around that 1.000 mark, I degassed it. It's a still wine. And then I bottled it. I started this process in May, and then finally bottled it in, did I put the date on here? I bottled it on the 21st of September. Big difference there. May all the way till September, mainly because I was just waiting so long for this to clear. So that's the history of this wine. So we're gonna pour some and we're gonna talk about it. Neither of us are sommeliers. We both enjoy drinking fine wines and other wines, of course. We're just kind of talking about this as people who make wine, as people who just like to enjoy it, not as experts. So why don't you dive right on in?
Why don't you dive in too, together?
Yes, ma'am.
It's good.
There you go, guys. So our
All
next
right.
episode
See you
is going to
later.
be about, nope, okay. So why don't you expand upon that?
Unlike some of your previous lines, it does not have a very strong ethanol flavor to it.
What do you smell? What do you smell as soon as you smell it?
Apples and pears.
What do you get more of?
Pear.
I get
It's heavy
pear
pear.
right off the bat.
Did you use more pears than apples?
Yeah, I did. But I can't tell you how excited I am about that. I've never done a Perry before. The apples were just some boring brand of apple. It wasn't like some Honey Crisp or anything exciting. But the pear smell definitely hits you right in the face. And pear is really mellow too. Pear isn't like tart or anything. It's super mild and mellow.
It's not dry at all. There's barely any dryness to it.
It's not very sweet either.
No, it's kind of
Well, maybe the dryness that you might be talking about is that like
tannin.
there's no tannin in it. I
No.
don't think I put any tannin in at least. If you want to know exactly what I did to make this wine, I'm going to link the video down in the description below, but I don't think I put any tannin in this. There was no reason for me to do so.
But I mean, it's not very sweet, not very strong. It's a very lightly flavored wine that you could probably drink a lot of easily.
I definitely second that statement.
What is the alcohol content of this bottle?
If it was a 1.092 going down to 1.000, I'd have to guess that it's probably around maybe 13%. If you know the answer and you think that I'm an idiot for getting it wrong, go ahead and put it down in the comments below. Yeah, it's probably 13%, not very high, but I always want to land between 11 to 13%. I've made some 18% wines and they're not great. So this is my sweet spot, and I think that I hit it right on the head. What do you think about the tartness?
I don't think it's very tart at all. Like I said, it's kind of just mildly fruity, not very offensive, very light, not tart.
I think it has a little bit of tartness, but I think I'm okay with it.
I don't think it's very tart.
I think, but it's like it's kind of an aftertaste of tartness. Okay, so let's give an overall.
Okay, the after, the little zing there.
Yeah, there's a little zing at the end. So let's give an overall summary of the wine. So let's talk about the clarity. Clarity is an overall important because if you close your eyes and drink it, it still tastes amazing. But clearly, it's not very clear. Maybe if I were to cook it down, I might be able to get a more clear juice, or maybe if I used concentrate instead. But either way, I'm still happy with it. So it's not really clear, but in the end, I'm okay with that. For flavor, it's mellow, maybe 12, 13% alcohol, mid sweetness, you'd say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely on the lesser sweet side.
It's not syrupy. I hate when a wine is just like drinking syrup with a little bit of alcohol in it. But it's kind of like I let it ferment to completely dry and then I back sweeten it just a little bit so it's bearable.
What do you back sweeten this with?
Sugar. So if I'm doing an apple or a pear wine, I'll either do just sugar or I'll back sweeten it with cider. I probably did a little bit of both with this one.
Apple cider?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the apple pear wine that I started brewing all the way back in May. It's mild. It's kind of more on the pear side of the flavor profile. The apple kind of supports it just a little bit, gives it a little bit of tartness to it. I did this using just leftover fruit that was going to rot on my countertop. And now I have a gallon of apple pear wine, just letting it age in my pantry. And so if you want to see how you can make this very same apple pear wine, if you want to see how you can take leftover fruits and juice them and ferment them so that you can turn them into something delicious, go down in the description below. Do you have any final words for our viewers?
Nope.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I can't wait to see what wine we're tasting next. It's mango. But until then, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic time. Happy brewing.